Thank you for taking the time to participate on this live broadcast. Next up is Janna I for a conversation on leveraging LinkedIn for the protective coatings or corrosion professional. Hey, welcome to an all-new Coatings Talk live stream. I'm Jim Kunkel. Joining me tonight is Janna I. Janna, welcome.
Hi, Jim. Thanks so much for having me.
It's great to have you. Hey, I wanted to talk with you a little bit about why it's so important for the global protective coatings and or corrosion professional to be on LinkedIn, involved in LinkedIn, and using LinkedIn. Before we get into our conversation, I wanted to share just a little bit of my thoughts with it. If you're not utilizing this platform, it doesn't matter if it's the free version or if you've got a paid subscription, you're missing out big time. And what I mean by that is what really was a big driver for me in my professional development and also for networking and making things happen was this platform. And if you don't utilize this platform, then you're the one who is paying the price of not really succeeding. And so that's really my message I have for everybody. So everyone watching this right now in the live stream, make sure that you do give some thumbs up and also to post some messages in the chat so that Janna and I can get engaged with you as well. So Janna, tell me your thoughts regarding why LinkedIn is so important for the professional.
I love LinkedIn. I mean, it's been around for, I think, 20 years now. It's pretty much a good, solid bread and butter linked social media platform. Nothing, doesn't try too much with a bunch of different changes. It's pretty steadfast. You know what you're going to get. It's definitely one where it's got a good mission statement. It's a social networking for professionals. So you're talking about your work and your job and networking and perhaps looking for a job. So that's what I really like. It's that it's got a kind of a clear vision that when you log on, you know what you're going to be doing on there. And also it's just a great way to talk to people that you don't normally talk to in your daily life, kind of see what topics might be trending in your industry, kind of what different people are thinking about, looking forward to in the future.
Perfect. And later on in our conversation, we're going to be talking about things that you can do related to your profile and positioning yourself and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But really what interests me and what I find fascinating about this platform is the aspect of engagement. And what I mean by engagement is it's either the networking part of it, it's either in the information delivery, the promotion part of it, if you're a business person, or even if you're looking to get content out there and drive messaging and things like that. The first thing that really comes to mind when it comes to either building yourself as a subject matter expert or getting a message out there, information out there, is article writing. And articles are such a incredible opportunity that I don't see a whole lot of people taking advantage. And I know in your profession related to social media and you're managing executive level people when it comes to their social media, you know, how important is it on the platform of LinkedIn to publish articles?
It's a great feature. It's definitely, like you said, it's one of the ones that a lot of people aren't using. And I think people maybe feel a little bit intimidated. You know, they think I'm not a writer, or like, what do I talk about? How long does it need to be? But I've seen, you know, articles even as short as like 300 to 500 words are a great way to gather your thoughts together. And, you know, if there's a topic that you've been thinking about or talking about, just kind of putting pen to paper, so to speak, and getting an article out of that is a really nice way to have that show up in your followers' feeds.
Here's a question that came in that I want to address right away here. Very good question. You know, what are some things that can backfire you on LinkedIn and what to avoid doing? And the thing that I found is if you take certain type of positions, even though LinkedIn is listed as a social platform, you want to be careful because it's a professional platform and you have people, you know, if you're looking for a job or you're looking to do business with somebody or you're looking to really kind of, you know, become that influencer on a professional level, you have to be very careful what you post on this on the LinkedIn platform. So political things, even societal things, and you want to be a little mindful of that. And I've seen examples of that go wildly out of control. And also too, I've seen that, you know, LinkedIn actually does have a safety team when it comes to what's posted on there. People can report you. So, those are some of the things you want to try to avoid. I think is stick to it being a platform that's about professionalism and, utilize it that way. What are some of the things that you think could go backfired on somebody?
Yeah, exactly. Politics, religion. I think that if you're asking that question, you're probably somebody who's pretty conscientious and maybe deep down knows the answer. That if it's not something you bring up with, with the CEO of your company standing there at the water cooler, that's probably a topic you want to avoid. I think I like to say what to do instead of what not to do, and so
Yeah.
be a good community member, be positive, contribute and help out your community. And I think common sense is a kind of a good line in the sand. Just kind of stay on the side of common sense, and you'll be in good place. In a good place.
Great. And now we can continue on what to do. The
Mhm.
next thing is just relying on text that you can put out there when you do posts that it would have text and things like that. So there are different messaging that you can do. You could do graphics. I utilize
Mhm.
Canva. Canva is a
Yeah, I
very
love Canva.
yeah, it's a very inexpensive on a monthly subscription or however you want to do it.
Mhm.
They have a free version that's just as robust, but I really like the paid version. It's really great. It
Mhm.
does amazing things.
It does.
All the graphics I do for my post and everything are done through Canva. It also has recommendations too that can
Mhm.
help you. And now they even have an AI feature built
Yep.
in to let the AI help you as well. So,
Mhm.
when you can post things like that, a lot of times I'll see people will have their LinkedIn profile and there's, which is good to share and repost things. That's good to do, but you want to balance. You want to have about 70, 80% of original content coming from you and maybe 20% or less that would be stuff that's reposted or
Mhm.
shared. What do
Yeah.
you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right to me. I think, sharing articles that are relevant to your industry, but you always wanna add your own commentary. You always wanna make sure that you're kind of making it personal. Um, like you said, finding, like, that mix of post formats. So I think a lot of people think, you always have to have a link, but what I've seen is that often, an original picture and text with no link is often what gets you a lot of views and clicks and comments and kind of can be a conversation starter. Um, so kind of mixing it up, not, some people want to stay in their comfort zone, and that's okay, as long as you're posting. But if you want to stretch your comfort zone a little bit, look at ways that you can mix it up. And even if you're posting something and you think, oh well, I posted about this a couple of weeks ago, that same topic, that's okay. You can kind of reshare something or add something to that past conversation in a different post format. Whether it's some writing that you do, or something through Canva or a news article link. That's a really good way to, I call it like feeding the LinkedIn algorithm. You're not necessarily tricking it. You're kind of playing the game that LinkedIn wants you to play.
Yeah, that is, and we're also going to go through analytics and third party
Mhm.
tools that you can utilize as well. But for a coatings industry or a corrosion industry professional, the next thing I want to talk about, which has been super beneficial for me, is video. Video posts are
Mhm.
really good. You can use your iPhone. You have,
Yeah,
clips on your iPhone.
absolutely.
You can utilize a GoPro. You can do a webcam. A lot of times the video I'm shooting is through a webcam through
Mhm.
my desktop or my laptop computer. And, and the thing with it is, we're working in the field, if you're a corrosion technician or if you're in the protective coatings field and you're working in the field, there might be opportunities for you to record video because in our industry in coatings and corrosion, we're very visual. We want to see things, we want to
Mhm.
understand things. So to see how a coating system's applied or some testing methodology that's utilized or surface preparation that's done, we
Mhm.
want to see that. And so take advantage of video that you can do. And like I say, it's really simple. You can just,
Yeah.
use your iPhone. You can
Yep.
utilize cameras, webcams, GoPros, and things like that. How more powerful? And let me see if you have a thought on this. How more powerful is video over just text?
I think, don't quote me on this, but I think I saw a stat the other day from LinkedIn saying that video was something like 20 times more powerful in terms of the number of people that would see your post. And I might have to go fact check that, but definitely,
I think you're right.
yeah, it's definitely something that that people engage with, and it's just a great way to kind of show that you really know what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
if you're able to, show a floor coating being applied, then you're kind of tapping into that oddly satisfying trend that people love to see. People love watching like the process of things. I get a ton of like lawn mowing videos in my feed. So it's that very like, really kind of satisfying to watch kind of thing. The same goes for like the process of applying a coating. Um, and then the other thing that it taps into is the thought leadership. So if you're kind of positioning yourself as like the go-to expert for this sort of thing, then people are going to really you're going to start building that trust with the people who see it.
Yeah. And that's really what it's all about,
Hmm.
is really kind of building that trust. And also too, people can look at you as a technical person, knowing what you're talking about. Hold on one quick second. A little bit of a cough there.
Mm.
Springtime, you get
Yeah,
the allergies popping out.
for sure.
The next thing I wanted to talk about, and this a good example, the first time I did it was going to the AMP conference in Denver, the
Mhm.
carousel post.
Yeah.
And I've never done that. And I saw, I have a lot of friends in professionals that work in the roofing industry. And
Hmm.
I've seen a lot of that utilized in that industry. And I'm like, hey, how do you do this? And they told me what to do. And
Hmm.
again, go back to Canva and utilize Canva. And I was absolutely just amazed with what could be done.
Hmm.
And the views, I was over 4,000 views
That's incredible.
on that. And it was like
And you got a lot of comments too.
a ton of comments and everything like
Hmm.
that. And all it was just a carousel of photographs that would go through with different messages on
Yep.
each of the photographs. In fact, you even commented on it as well.
Hmm.
And I was just amazed with that. So another thing too with LinkedIn is experiment with what can be done.
Hmm.
And again, you don't have to have Canva or anything or any of the other
Hmm.
type of software programs or applications. You can utilize it through PowerPoint or Publisher. There's a lot
Yeah.
of other ways to do it as well. But it's just amazing to see how something like Carousel does. Why do you think? Is it just because it's the flash of imagery, not just something static?
I think it's because it's a new feature on LinkedIn. So they're rolling that out to individual platforms, and I believe they're going to be rolling that out to business pages soon.
Okay.
And then also it invites people to interact with the content. So instead of just having a photo gallery that your eyes kind of glaze over while you're scrolling, it forces you to stop the scroll and click and engage and like scroll through all the different content. So I think that's the sort of thing that you want to do more of, and get people to kind of not just passively consume what you're posting, but kind of engage with it a little bit more. So
Yeah, and
both of those things play into it.
that's really, for me, it's all about engagement. I mean, I do,
Hmm.
and we'll talk about analytics and things like that. It's really important for me, and I kind of think that where I really gain a lot of knowledge and information is, what's working when I post things. And a lot of times, if people follow me on my profile, they'll get some very unique things. I'll throw some off the wall things. Like a Friday, I did hey, it's Friday, like have a great weekend with a little
Hmm.
bit of a music video I put together. And what I find is just to see how that stuff does. And I'm talking about the stuff that might not be considered professional, but it's more like good natured and having
Yeah.
fun, to just try to kind of shake it up a little bit. But I always like to
Yeah.
see engagement, what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
This graphic works, this video works, this concept. I've done multiple different topic live streams and content series. And, now I'm
Hmm.
centered in on to Codings Talk and then the digital revolution when it
Hmm.
comes to digital transformation topics and things like that. But, just trying different things and seeing what works. And I think that's really important for the professional out there, not just get stuck in doing this, 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 this,
Hmm.
shake it up, change it up, go a different direction, kind of mix it up a little bit. And then once you start to grow your network, and if anybody sends me a connection, I really research that person. Are they in a related industry? Does it make
Mm-hmm.
sense for us, for me and for that person to be connected together?
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not, I don't accept everyone. So
Yeah.
because of that, I only have almost 7,000 connections and
Mm-hmm.
about 7,000 followers, but it's not uncommon for me for posts to get, 10,000, impressions,
Yeah.
and then get, it could get 1,000 on the engagement and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about quality, not about quantity. And, for me, being very selective, but also too shaking it up a little bit has been, I think, a secret. If you'd say I'm successful on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
um, I would say that's a secret to my success, is just keeping it fresh and different and shaking it up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, I like this metaphor that I have is like kind of being a good neighbor on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
So if you're the kind of neighbor who just goes straight home and closes your garage and doesn't come out, doesn't go to block parties, doesn't interact with your neighbors in any way, that's fine. That's your choice. But if you're somebody who is offers to you know walk their neighbor's dog, or if there's a new baby in the neighborhood, bringing them a plate of cookies, or kind of gives them a heads up on something that's happening in the neighborhood. If you're kind of like that helpful person that shows up and gets out, and just your presence it goes a long way. And I think that's kind of what you're doing, is you're kind of being a helpful neighbor. You're providing a lot of really helpful free content for people in the industry, and you're seeing a response. Whenever somebody engages with a post, that has the potential for all of their followers or all of their connections to see that post. So that's why you're seeing the engagement numbers just kind of go viral. It's kind of a domino effect, but it starts with just kind of putting your face out there and getting, kind of showing up to the party.
Yeah, and having no fear, just do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I go back and I look at the videos that I would do almost 3 years ago, and just to see how drastically I've improved. And everyone
Mm-hmm.
will improve as they go
Yeah.
through the process. And the other thing, a lot of times people will say to me, it must be a lot of labor and time put into it. And I know you'll agree with me this. Once you get a process in place,
Yeah.
it's so simple. It's just filling
Absolutely.
in the blanks.
Mm-hmm.
And the wild thing is, even though it's cookie cutter in that aspect, it still comes out fresh.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come out, it's the same old, same old. And again, changing up format, changing up the
Mm-hmm.
topics, changing up how you deliver it, and all that kind of good stuff. The showmanship really helps kind of sell that, and really kind of helps drive that and increase your, your followers, your connections, and all that other stuff, and the consumers of your content. Going into before the pandemic, the reason I got into doing content was in the global protective coatings and the corrosion industries. A lot of people don't know what both industries really do, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
fully understand the importance of both industries.
Mm-hmm.
And we need more content creators out there. There are
Mm-hmm.
so many people that and I know in both sides of let's say the corrosion coin, on the coatings and corrosion side, that really have amazing things that they can talk about,
Mm-hmm.
showcase, show, whatever. They
Mm-hmm.
just need to be inspired to go out there and do it. And that's really why I do that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that. I want to see others. And the other thing too, I always encourage other languages too, not just in English,
Right.
other
Right. That's a
Spanish,
great point. Mm-hmm.
Portuguese, German, Italian, doesn't matter. Get
Mm-hmm.
out there and do it, because I think that's where we help this industry. On YouTube, for example, protective coatings topics perform okay, but what performs actually almost 3 times better? Corrosion topics.
Okay.
So I need to start doing more corrosion topics. So that's something I need to switch, because with coatings talk, it's not just about coatings, it's also about corrosion topics as
Yeah.
well. So I need to ride that algorithm, what's hot
Right.
out there right now in the algorithm. It's the same thing with LinkedIn. You will start to understand. They used to have a shorts, and I love the shorts, and or stories. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
stories.
Yeah, they took that away.
They took it away because that really helped. They over promoted the algorithm. And it's the same thing with YouTube. If you put content on YouTube, they're trying to compete against TikTok. For some reason, they think TikTok is their competition.
Right.
So they're like,
Right.
okay, we got these shorts now. Put these shorts out there, and I'll tell you what, it does. The algorithm is really great. And I pick
Yeah.
up actually a lot more subscribers to my channel through the shorts than I do through normal video
Okay.
uploads.
Well,
So
and
I don't.
it's a win-win
Mhm.
because the shorter content is easier to create. You don't have to overthink it and come up with a 20-minute video, super in-depth, super well researched. You can kind of break it down into like a bite-sized chunk, and that's a lot easier to pull off for somebody who's got a day job and they're doing this as a bonus.
Yeah, it definitely does. And then also too, the next thing I want to cover is
Mhm.
with LinkedIn. Once you get into, well, I'm listed as a content creator, so I have the content creator. I don't know if
Mhm.
it's feature or function or wherever it is, but I do believe now, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this. I do believe that most people can apply now to get approved
Mhm.
to do live streaming. You just have to have so many certain minimums and stuff like that.
Yeah, you used to have to jump through. I remember that. You
I had
used
to
to
go
have
through a
to jump through a
contract
lot
or
of
a
hoops.
application. Yeah, I
Yeah,
got turned down the
yeah.
first time too. I was so upset. But they told me, luckily they told me what I needed to do, and I
Mhm.
started doing it. And it was really posting original content,
Mhm.
videos, articles, and that's where you seen a change in me a couple years back. And then I started doing that more than just posting, general text posts and things like that. But what I really find a benefit, and you can use this content multiple ways, and we're going to go through this.
Mhm.
LinkedIn Live, where we're doing it right now, live stream.
Mhm.
So with this live stream, I can take the recording of it and repost it back out on my YouTube channel. And we're streaming on 3 platforms right now, not just LinkedIn, but 3 platforms. I can take that, repurpose it, because the replay is, you get an X number of people during a live show, right? But then the
Mhm.
replay is where it gets its amazing life to it. So
Mhm.
I can take this where we might have 40, 50 people watching us right now. Hi, by the way, and everybody start posting some comments, please. Um, that replay can get 700, 800,
Mhm.
sometimes 1,000 extra views in the 48 hours after the broadcast. So a lot of times people will watch that content, and you want to kind of keep it short. I try to strive
Mhm.
for about 30 minutes or less if possible, but 30 minutes. Sometimes you have topics, you run a little later, but I
Mhm.
really benefit, I really find great benefit from the live stream, because now I can take the content, I can rebroadcast it as a recording. I can take clips out of it. You
Mhm.
and I are having a conversation. I can clip it and use that to promote that, or create shorts from it, like we were talking about, that I can put
Mhm.
out on any platform. It doesn't have to be just YouTube. It could be LinkedIn. It could be Facebook. It could be any other platform. The other
Yeah.
thing too that I found is incredible right now, that I wish LinkedIn, and if they're listening right now, please start archive recording and make it available as archive recording.
Mm.
They have a live audio. If you've ever done Clubhouse, they have a
Mhm.
live audio. It I think it's perfect for LinkedIn platform. Is it like Clubhouse exactly? No, it's not, but it's good enough. And I think with some minor tweaks and things, like it could get even better, especially if they would do the archive recording so people could do it. Because what I end up doing is I record it on a separate device,
Okay.
edit it, and put it back out there as an audio.
Right.
And this way people can take advantage of that. The
Yeah.
live chats are amazing. And Wednesday I'll have a live chat. We're going to be talking about illumination related to protective coating projects when you're doing
Mhm.
the actual contractor production work. And then also on the inspection side, we're going to talk about illumination on these projects. You get people in the audience who are into the chat. They can put their hand up and come up onto the stage, you open up their mic, and then they
That's
get
great.
part of the,
Yeah.
the so the engagement's absolutely
Yeah.
amazing.
It's so much more interactive and you're really like talking with people instead of talking at them, which is I really think that's the way most social platforms are going. It's like it's community more so than just like a publishing platform.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
you're on audio, so it takes
Mhm.
away a little bit of the fear factor of, being on
Yeah.
camera and live
Yeah.
broadcasting and things like that.
Mhm.
So for me, I think those two, tools that were being offered, or resources being offered to, and you don't have to be a paid, you can still be on the basic account, a free account. That has been beneficial, but I think it's also helped drive the platform to even newer heights.
Mhm.
And then, the next question is, where is LinkedIn going to go? I would imagine with, Microsoft, they've got to be looking at, because they do view a YouTube and they do view some of the other platforms as competition. And that's something I want to bring up
Yeah.
too about links. Some people ask me, why don't I put it? And I do link to videos on my YouTube channel, but when I look at the algorithm, let me say this. If I think I know what the algorithm's doing because my views and engagements are way off on that, it's being suppressed. I don't mean that in a negative way. They don't really want to promote stuff that's going to drive people to another platform.
Yeah. Or even sometimes I'll have a conversation with, some of the brands that I work with. And even if you share too many links, most people want their audience to go click on a link and visit their website. That's like a very common, like established goal when you're doing anything in the digital space. But LinkedIn wants people to stay on LinkedIn. It wants people to consume that content. So anytime that there's an opportunity to not send them out to another website is something that that people should consider. And again, you want to keep it fresh, mix it up. But sometimes when people are saying, well, why didn't this post do very well? It might just be a case of LinkedIn is trying to keep people on the platform and continue scrolling and keep their attention.
So an experiment I just started, well, not like I started it, but it's always been around. I'm now, to get people to subscribe, I put a QR code because I want them to, if they're on their laptop or desktop, I want them to pick up their phone, scan the QR code. It takes you right to my YouTube channels. This way, if I put a link in there, LinkedIn knows there's a link there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the AI is smart enough, and I could be wrong. Sorry, AI, LinkedIn AI, if you're listening in right now. I don't know if it can tell there's a QR code buried into the graphic. But
no, that's interesting. And even if it does, I mean, if they're picking up their phone and going to that website, that means they're still on the desktop looking at your posts and continuing to scroll. So yeah, no, that's a great approach. I hadn't thought of that one before.
So I might start doing, if you want to see the episode, use a QR code.
Yeah.
But then I have to take a look at on YouTube, how is my content views? Are they going down? I average about 4,000, almost 4,000 views a month on my YouTube channel.
Oh, wow.
And, that number has grown. My subscribers getting close to 1,400. But what I really like to track is that 80%, roughly about 80% of my views are coming from non-subscribers. So that subscriber number for me is important because when you reach a certain level, you can get into monetization, which is like 4,000. But you have to have, you have to have so many thousand watch hours and stuff like that, and so many thousand subscribers. But you're talking about monetization where you're talking about pennies and dollars. You're not talking about you're not going to retire on
it's kind of a nice extra. Yeah.
So the closest thing I could ever do with monetization would be if I could find people who would want to become sponsors, and then just use it that way. But that being said, I really appreciate everybody that does subscribe to my channel, and I encourage everyone right now to subscribe to my channels. But consuming the content is really important for me as well, and that engagement, because that really helps drive me. When I see that number roll, check my analytics and say, man, this looks great. That really is what a driver for me, because at the end of the day, one day later in my life, I want people to say, and this happens to me, people say, hey, I watch your stuff. I love your stuff. I learned something from your stuff. And then I've had people say, hey, you talk about this. Why don't you talk about that? And that's really what I like too, because tell me what you want to hear. Don't make me pick it for you, because I might pick the wrong thing. So I think that engagement, that feedback is so important as well.
Yeah, I'm a big, I love checking analytics and seeing follower growth and engagement growth. And did we do better this month than last month? Always wanting to see kind of what moves the needle on your goals.
So before we get into the analytics part of our conversation, let's talk a little bit about, 5 ways to really grow your personal brand on LinkedIn. And the first one is really creating a captivating profile. The first thing people do look at is their photograph.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you want to put this is my opinion, you want to put a professional headshot in there. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember a couple months ago when we had the AI artwork and people were putting like really crazy AI artwork in
Uh-huh.
there. Is that, again, like I say, if you're trying to use LinkedIn as a professional, or maybe you're looking for a new career change or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that, having that professional photo in there, I think is super important over
Yeah.
something maybe you would have put on Facebook.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things you don't want to overthink too much and not try to get too creative. Just pretty straightforward headshot that is honest. This is what I look like, and here I am. Definitely the first step. And I would also say, if it's more than a couple years old, maybe consider getting a new headshot taken. You want to kind of keep it fresh, keep it current to what you look like today.
And you don't have to go to a I'm not knocking professional photographs or
Hmm.
photographers. I'm sorry. Is, put on a suit and a tie
Yeah,
or something, your business attire,
yeah,
and have someone, your significant other or someone, a friend or a family member, just
hmm,
take a photograph, but
yeah,
choose the location,
yeah,
and be careful of that too, and
hmm,
have a good photograph that way. Lee just posted here, whenever I post pictures of projects, I always go to analytics of views and post. Very important. Lee, 100%, I agree with you on that one.
hmm,
Track them, check them out, make sure, see how they're doing. And when you start to see those ones that are hot, keep
hmm,
doing more of those, and then try to find something different and see how that does. And then once you get kind of that mixture of what works and what doesn't work, then you're good as gold, because now you're dialed into the algorithm, or you're
yeah,
dialed into your connections, is
hmm.
really kind of what
It's
you're thinking about.
great feedback to have.
Yeah, yeah. Um, you want to really kind of make sure that you complete your profile on LinkedIn, have your timeline synced up perfectly.
Hmm,
I've seen people with employment gaps. It's
hmm,
okay to have employment gaps, but try to kind of tie them down a little bit, or put some information in there. So if someone is searching on you because maybe you've applied for a position, or they're
hmm,
looking to do business with you, I will look at, if I'm working with someone who's a salesperson for a service or a commodity, I'll look at what jobs they've had, because have they
right.
jumped from industry to industry, or they've been consistent? Because
Hmm,
now I know if they've been in the coatings industry since they were in their 20s and now they're in their 50s, I'm going to really kind of work with them differently than someone who might have gone from this industry to that industry and they've only been in the coatings industry for the last 2 years. I
hmm,
really don't know if that person fully comprehends or understands the industry if
right.
they've only been in it for 2 years. So I'm going to look at them a little differently if I'm going to do business with them, or potentially if I'm going to hire them.
Hmm,
Recruiters do look at your profiles, and then HR departments do as well. So it goes back to that first question that we had about, what are some of the things you don't want to, you want to avoid, so it doesn't
yeah,
backfire on you as well.
yeah, yeah. And I think, to your point, just having as much information as possible is helps people who are potentially looking for you find you. If you're using, there's a headline feature,
Yes.
which, it can be your job title. That's pretty straightforward, but it's also a space where you can get a little bit more creative, show a little bit of personality, kind of show. I especially tell salespeople, show them that you're a human first, and then a
Hmm.
salesperson second, and it kind of takes down some of the, just, it makes you seem more friendly and open. Um, and then the about section is just really important in terms of SEO. So if people are searching for you, making sure that you've got those keywords, um, and just the relevant information in your about section. And that's another opportunity as well to show, a little bit of your personality. Obviously, you want to play it safe. Don't do anything too crazy in that space, but you know, show that you're not just a worker and you've got something else going on in your life.
Yeah. And Lee follows up here. I was happy to see the views grow from 1,000 in a week to over 4,000 that same period.
Oh, that's awesome.
How can I make that grow? I have over 2,500 LinkedIn contacts,
Hmm.
and Lee, really, what it is, it's not about if you have 50,000 followers or connections, or 2,500. Um, if you have the right content, the right message, the right whatever would cause it to go viral, it can go viral like you wouldn't believe,
Hmm.
and you could have a ton of views on it and engagement and not have the big network like that, because it's a multiplier if you think about it. Once you have something go viral, it's not only being fed to that contact there, but to their contacts as well, because if they
Hmm.
liked it or they shared it, it's going to gain a life on its own. It's a multiplier.
Yeah. I
So
would add though, I think that maybe if he's not already using hashtags,
mm,
try testing out a couple of hashtags, like nothing too crazy. Make sure it's relevant to the topic, but like 3 or 5 hashtags, and kind of see if that moves the needle and makes a difference on analytics. I'd be interested to see.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I think goes to, I mentioned this earlier, where when it comes to my connection. So followers, you can't really pick your followers. They just want to
Right.
follow you. They follow you. But for connection requests, you want to
Hmm.
qualify them. I do really think you want to do that. You don't want to accept everybody, and you want to look at them and see, does it make sense for them to be a connection for you and for you to be a connection with them. And then once you kind of make that decision, approve that, and there you go, you're good to go.
Hmm.
You'll have a little cleaner of a network that way. And I think because there are people out there that are going to try to connect with you because they think that they can get into your network, and they're going to be able to do a little bit of phishing
Right.
with your connections as well. So, be a little bit more mindful when you do that. And then the last thing I wanted to add is the endorsements.
Hmm.
I really love those endorsements. I love giving endorsements. People do
Hmm.
ask me, is it super super important, especially when you're in an industry and you have multiple people from different angles kind of offering a recommendation on you, an endorsement saying, um, you know, well, even you got the normal general endorsements, but then you have the written ones. I
Hmm.
think those written ones are more powerful than the
Absolutely.
general ones where they're just kind of tagging you for different
Yeah, different
aspects.
skills.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, that is huge. I mean, having really powerful endorsements and giving them is like, it's not something that people do every day on LinkedIn. And so, kind of tapping into that feature is great, and it's really meaningful. It's really personal, and it's like really, I mean, endorsement is a perfect word for it because it really validates your experience and your work.
perfect. Trying to reset this up here. Here we go. So the next aspect we want to talk about is regarding here in 2023, or some of the ways that businesses can and really benefit from LinkedIn. And the first thing that really comes to mind is you have business pages and you have the showcase
Mhm.
pages. And I think that's something that you currently are kind of more focused on to some extent. Is that correct?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do. I work in I have my hand in a lot of different pots in my current position. I do both brand social media, and I work with individuals to kind of help them create a thought leadership presence, specifically on LinkedIn. Um, so yeah, the brand page is definitely kind of where my roots are, and most of my experience are in building up brand pages for companies.
And with the showcase pages,
Hmm.
you can actually do the live streaming, and
Okay.
you can do, I believe, the LinkedIn audio as well.
Mm,
But everyone should double check into that, because I don't think you can do it on the business pages. I don't think you can do it on the showcase pages, which would be
that
kind of,
sounds right. Hmm.
it would be cool if you could do that, because your showcase pages, let's say you have your business is,
Hmm.
ABC company, and you have 4 different sub brands.
Hmm.
Your showcase pages would be each of the sub brands under your business page. It'd be kind of cool that if you just had people going to product A, or they're buying product B or product C or product D, you could have specific broadcasts that way versus just doing it
Mm,
over the general. But there are ways to kind of package that all together so it doesn't matter, because it's all feeding to the same business page.
right, right.
So
Yeah, it's like the showcase feature isn't going to apply to everybody. I think
yeah,
most of the brands I've worked with don't use that because they do have more of a singular like audience
okay,
definition. But I think to your point and like zooming out a little bit, um, it's if you have a brand page for your company or company page on LinkedIn, um, fill out every feature that is pertinent to you. Like have as complete a profile as possible. And when you're the admin for a page, there'll be kind of a prompt at the top showing you what features you're already using and what you still need to work on or complete the setup for. And that is, whether you do decide to use showcase pages or not, like that, just using as many of the things that are available to you is really the way to kind of get your company to show up in people's feeds. And there's a lot, there's careers pages, there's like a life at, something that shows what it's like to work at the company. So that can be really powerful. Obviously job listings, you can put in if you have kind of a mission statement or company values that you want to showcase, that's definitely a good thing to include there as well.
Perfect.
So I always tell people to kind of go in and explore a little bit and consider which of those features are ones that you can tap into.
Yeah, and having something's better than not having it at all. I mean, I think if you don't have a very thorough or almost complete profile or showcase pages or business page, it kind of might spell to people that maybe you really don't have a care or attention or anything like that. So you got to be careful of that nonverbal messaging you could be driving. Now, when it comes to analytics, there are like Hootsuite, there are other third-party analytics. A lot of stuff you can learn from the basic stuff. So you can take a look at, what's your engagement. So, like I have here post impressions, and I like to look at that trend. I'm up 2.4% over the past 7 days. Over the past 90 days, I've had 819 profile viewers. And then there's my total followers is 6,234. So, and then, yeah, you can see. So it's really good to kind of gauge it that way. And then the other things I like to look at, like my profile topics are corrosion, coatings industry, digital marketing, protective coatings, and digital transformation. And these are kind of like, I don't work in digital marketing or digital transformation. Those are topics that are real interesting to me. So that's why I'm doing content on that. And then these are going to be the creator tools that I have available for me where, LinkedIn Live, audio, a newsletter, follow link, all those type of things. But when I go into and I look at really my followers and everything like that, to look at what their profile is, and I can see, like for me, the number one highest percentage is business owners, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And then
that's great intel. You can actually like tell who you're talking to, making sure that you're kind of crafting the content around that. You don't have to do the guesswork. I love that feature. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm in sales. So who do you think my number two audience, typical audience of my followers is?
Buyers.
Salespeople.
Oh, okay. So it's the competition.
It's like salespeople following salespeople.
Yeah.
But it happens that way because, when you work in an industry, you're probably going to be networking with, well, they could be your competition, but they're probably going to be other vendors, suppliers, related, affiliated type of industries as well.
Yeah.
So these analytical tools are super important. And there are third parties you can subscribe to. And I know that if you pay a premium will give you a lot more features and abilities to do things. And so there are so many different ways to utilize this platform. It's just, and you're talking about, almost, I don't want to say it's 700, almost 800 million profiles. And these are people who have been validated. In other words, they are confirmed profiles. They have to be that two-party factor authenticated. You're not just someone who signed up an account by creating.
That's true. Yeah. You don't see too many like bots or trolls. You see some trolls, but you don't see too many bots on LinkedIn compared to other platforms. Like I'll post something on Instagram and I'll get 2 comments and they're both bots. So that's definitely, LinkedIn is a little bit better set up to avoid that sort of thing.
Yeah. And I still can't figure out, Facebook is Facebook, but for me, Instagram, I think is more interesting to me than anything. I still haven't figured out the code for that, but I really haven't been committed to it. I've never gone down the TikTok route.
I could see you on TikTok. I bet you it would be good. It's very casual, and it's all about, kind of sharing your expertise, um, in a way that's just very bite-sized and consumable. So, I think there's a lot of hesitation, and I see that with the brands that I work with, that they don't have the bandwidth, or they don't want to open Pandora's box by getting on TikTok, and that's valid. But I encourage people to go and see and check out what it's all about. I'm not really on it, but
Yeah.
I consume it, and I every once in a while I have an idea, and I'm looking for I'm hoping that one day soon I do work with a brand that wants to explore with TikTok.
Yeah, yeah. And then I was an old Periscope person who got
Mhm.
pulled into Twitter, and I always had
Mhm.
I'm at James Kunkel on Twitter, so I had one ever since Twitter kind of came about.
Yeah.
But and I've done streams and content onto Twitter. It's done pretty well, but again, for that one, I, for whatever reason, just for me,
Twitter,
it seems, yeah,
yeah.
it just seems like for me, it's
It's
LinkedIn and YouTube, and that's been primarily it for me
yeah.
right now.
Twitter's kind of crazy these days. We don't need to
Yeah.
get into it, but I am like a big proponent of like digging into LinkedIn and like seeing what it can offer you. Um, 90% of it is just showing up and being there and putting yourself out there a little bit. I don't want people to think that they're going to have to go on video or have to write a 500-word article. Just kind of start small and comment on your colleagues' posts, or find a couple of brands that you work with and engage with them, and um, check out those analytics and see what's coming of it. So
Yeah, I mean, you could
definitely a
do
lot of room to explore.
yeah, you can do audio. I mean, you can
Yeah.
create a kind of a thumbnail, do audio, put the audio to the thumbnail, convert it over to MP4,
Yeah.
put out an audio podcast that technically would be, broadcasted on LinkedIn or whatever. Because you're allotted, if you upload from a desktop, you can do roughly 15 minutes of video.
Okay.
If
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
do it from the app, it has to be 10 minutes or less. If you
Hmm.
do it from a phone.
Yeah, and from what I've seen on analytics, it's like the shorter the better.
Yes.
Keep it really light and simple, and it's kind of a commitment to sit down and watch a 15-minute video. But most people will watch something that's 30 minutes, or sorry, 30 seconds to 90 seconds long,
Yeah.
as
That's
long
what
as you
I
grab their attention.
need to
Hmm.
start doing more of the shorts like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Janna, anything that we did not talk about that you would want to leave with the viewers?
I think we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So how can people follow you and get in contact with you and maybe take advantage of some paid professional services?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I do accept most follow requests. I'm pretty open, so definitely reach out and send me a message if you want to talk more. I'm on Instagram. It's all just my first name, last name. But other than that, I would love to hear from people on LinkedIn. It's where I'm at
Perfect.
most of the day. I've usually got it open in a browser, and I'm keeping an eye on things.
Yeah, me too. One eye on business, one eye on LinkedIn. That's me.
Yeah.
Janna, thank you so much. It's been great to be able. We work together at AMP,
Yeah.
and it's great to be able to do this broadcast with you. And good luck, and hopefully we can do this again sometime down the road.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It was really great to catch up with you.
Perfect, perfect. And everyone, you can follow me on LinkedIn. Make sure that you do scan the QR codes when I do post them. Either become a subscriber, well, become a subscriber to both the Digital Revolution and channel, and then also to Codings Talk channel. Check out the newsletters. When I got newsletters, I should have one coming out, I think, tonight for Wednesday's LinkedIn audio. That will be the next one. It'll be an audio chat coming up on Wednesday evening, and then look for other content as well. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good rest of your day, your evening, your morning, wherever you're at, and have a great rest of your week as well. Bye, Janna.
Bye, Jim. Thanks so much.
All right, everybody. Good
Take
night.
care. Bye.